my name is Jordan Robinson, and today I'll be discussing globalization and whether it is a good thing or a bad thing. In my opinion, it can be both, and I'm here to show you why. First, let's take a look at what globalization really means. Globalization can be understood as the process of integrating communication, economies, and people worldwide. It is the coming together of countries and people forming a common global economy. Being a complex term, we have to understand globalization as a process and look at all parts of it. These aspects include, but are not limited to, political, cultural, economic, and ecological. These parts make up the multidimensional term globalization. An example is a transnational company because they do business on a global scale and expand their markets to other countries. This allows their goods and services to reach more customers. Now that we've defined it, let's see the effects of globalization. To reach my hypothesis of it being both a good and bad system, we should analyze the pros and the cons. Let's take a look at what the pros are. Globalization has the ability to broaden the access to goods and services all over the world. The global market allows people to get goods and services from almost any country. Now, communities can get things that were once out of reach. This illustrates the value of trade. An example can be the car industry. Many car manufacturers still manufacture outside the U.S., and the U.S. imports those cars to be sold domestically. Pro number 2 is spreading cultural awareness. Because of advances in technology, we can see how people live all around the world without even leaving our homes. Travel also helps in carrying cultures around the globe and spreading beliefs. And the last pro number 3, is the spreading of information. With easy travel and technology, ideas and knowledge can be shared easily. For example, Kenya has adapted the idea of mobile banking, which first began in the Philippines. Countries can look to others for inspiration and ideas. Wow, those are some good ones. Now that we've got the pros, let's take a look at what the cons are. One of the negative effects of globalization are the jobs that are created in developing countries. U.S. companies continuously choose to outsource work to developing countries because laws for workers are not as strict in those countries. This allows for wrongful treatment of those workers by the U.S. companies. Outsourced workers are typically paid way less than their American counterparts would, and the provided working conditions most times are nowhere near as nice as those in the U.S. Con number 2 is cultural homogeneity, which is reducing cultural diversity through popularization and common use of cultures. This can be seen through objects, clothing, language, and beliefs. In the video, Jordan Peterson said, "People need something they can relate to, something with a shared history and not imposed on them." I understood this as needing our own identities. We lose that if we all become one through the acts of globalization. Lastly, another issue of globalization is that it allows for multinational companies to grow to become extremely powerful, sometimes too powerful. Multinational companies can have such an effect on some countries' economies that they can have an effect in the country's government policies. For example, take Saudi Aramco, a multinational petroleum and natural gas company based in Saudi Arabia. It is one of the largest companies in the world and has a large effect on Saudi Arabia's government policy making because so much of their economy is dependent on the oil industry and very dependent specifically on this multinational organization. Jordan Peterson said, "To bring all the multiplicity under the umbrella of a single unity is to simultaneously erect a system where the top is so far from the bottom that the bottom has no connection to the top." I related this to how multinational companies can gain so much power to manipulate politics and ultimately have a say in how this country is ran. This gap is enlarged between those with power and wealth and those without. After this research of the pros and cons of globalization, I believe I have proven my hypothesis that globalization can be both good and bad. And although Jordan Peterson mostly pointed out the bad, I believe it is important to know the good because globalization is so complex and is such a multidimensional term that there is both good and bad within it. So, thank you for watching.